Hi everyone. Welcome back to the Linux and Shell scripting chapter, and we are dealing with Module 2 today. So, in this particular section, let's have a quick recall of a basic Linux command that we have learned yesterday. So, the basic navigation, to get the path of the current directory, we use the command pwd. To list out all the contents of any folder, we use ls, and there are other options associated with ls, so we can use like ls minus al and ls minus lh. There are other information also, and to change the directory to folder x we use cdx, and also to go one directory back, so we use cd dot dot thing. Okay, and while using on linux thing, so we use tab thing to complete auto complete the file and directory names. So don't have to always write the complete file name or folder name. You can write the partial thing and use the tab keyword from your, so to complete the file or directory names. Okay, and then we have learned, so the path list of any directory is separated by forward slash. Then we have also seen these structure thing, what are these characters. So the star character is like the pattern thing, searching for a pattern, or that star is also called wildcard in the linux term. The single dot refers to the current directory. If you are using tilde, so it means you are referring to home directory. For example, you are doing cd tilde, so it will jump back to the your home directory. And if you are doing cd and giving any folder name, it will jump to that particular folder. Okay, and if you are doing starting with forward slash, means this forward slash refers to root directory. Okay, and don't have to write the command every time on the linux thing. You can use the up arrow key to see what command you ran previously, and you can use that command directly without writing again and again. And there is one more command, that is history. So if you type history on your terminal, it will display all the recently used commands. Now coming back to, there are two more commands, that is psu and killx. Psu is like showing the process status of your system. Like for example, you are running a lot of applications. For example, right now I'm using Chrome, then this PPT, Word document, and other files I have open in my system. So if you do PSU, it will show all the running processes. And for example, sometimes at any application, sometimes your screen stuck or like facing the hanging problem, like your system hangs something. So you can use the kill command to kill those particular process thing and to come out of the trouble thing. The next part we are dealing is file permission. So when you do ls minus l, it will list out all the files that is there in your current directory. Okay, so we have seen on the right hand side is the information of the file, what is the date that this particular folder or file is created or modified, and this is the column that is giving information on the size of the file. Okay, so we have also seen at the beginning these things. So what exactly these are? So these things basically gives you information on the file permission, like what exactly they are containing. So if you find dash symbol, it means that particular information is related to file. So this is a file, so that's why you have the first character is dash. When it is a directory, it will have the d thing, so the first character will tell you the file type. Okay, so next three will give information. So we have the next three block. So first block will give information on the owner part, means the user. Like if you are using your laptop, so you are the owner of your laptop. Okay. If you are handling any server thing, and for example, someone has given you the access to that server, so like you are considered as a group or using some others category. Okay. The second and third are comes under group and other category. So as I mentioned, these refer to directory, dash is file, and L, if you see, it is for link. Okay, then the coming back to this part, this is for owner category, group category, and other category, and then we can see what are the permission these groups have. Okay, so RWX, these characters indicates R is basically for read, R represents write, and X represents executes. So when you see these three, it means the user has permission for all the three features. Means he can write, he can update, he can read and write, and the access he can execute these things. For example, this particular file, the user has only two permission, like he can read and write, but he can't execute. Okay, so this is the way you can find out, okay, whether you have the permission to execute any files. Because if you are working on server, so sometimes the owner does not give permission for every files to you, because like some files are important. So if you are like playing with those files, so there might be chance at some stage, like you might add some extra things that will corrupt those files. So for safety purpose, they will give permission to only those files that are needed for you to do the analysis part. So these things we can do, like we can change the permission, like what permission you want to give the user, any groups or any friends who are going to handle or using your data. Next is how you are going to change the permission. So to change the permission, we use chmod command. So the syntax of chmod is, this is the command chmod. Then you need to specify for which group type you are adding. Like you, if you are adding you, it means you are giving permission to user. G is for group, O is for others, and A is for all. Okay. Next, you need to add what thing you are going to add. Like you are going to give the permission, then you can add. If you are removing the permission from the user, you just need to do dash minus thing. So plus is for adding and minus is for removing. Then the next part is coming is what is the permission type. Means you want to give read permission, write permission, or execute permission, or you want to give all of the three. Okay. The next argument is like which file and directory name, like which file you want to give the permission. Like if you give the access to these files, so you can select, like for example, I want to give, so this is a readme.md file. So here you can see the user has only read and write permission. I want to access to as execute permission also. So what I have to do, I have to change the file permission thing. So here I'm using chmod. So because I'm the user, I'm giving you plus symbol because I'm adding one more permission, that is for executing. So I'm adding plus and x is for execute, and then giving the file name. Then again, if you list out the content of the file, here you can see now x is added. So now the user has all the three permission for read, write, and execute. Okay, so we will see this particular on the terminal also. So if you go to the terminal part, so for example, I have did ls, and if I do ls minus lh, so here you can see all the files listed in this particular thing. And also you can see, for example, this testing folder has read, write, and execute permission. Now let's see, I have two sh file. Okay, I have created two sh file. So this sh file has read, write, and execute permission, but this file has not execute permission. So when you, so let's create a new sh file. So to create any file, so we use the touch command. So let's say I'm giving new file dot sh. So this is a shell script. So I have created a file with an extension dot sh. Okay. Now let's see. I want to add a command in this particular file. So I'm opening this file in Vim, and then I went into insert mode by clicking on I. Then I'm writing my first command echo, and I want to print hello. Hello everyone. Okay. Then I press ESC to go out this insert mode, then colon part and write and save W and Q. Press enter. So I have added one command in this new file.sh. Okay. Now I want to execute this file. So this file will get executed and the command that is there in this particular file will run. Okay. So to execute the file, I just need to put dot forward slash and need to provide the file name. Okay. So new file.sh. Now it is giving error because it is saying like permission denied, means you don't have permission to execute this file. If you see again ls minus lh, so here I have created new file.sh, and here we can easily see we only have read and write permission. We don't have permission for execute. So I want to change the permission, so we just have to do chmod Okay, you can provide the user group other information. You can skip that part also, or simply provide plus sign. Means I want to add a permission for execute chmod plus x. Okay, and then providing the file name. So new underscore file dot sh is my shell script file, and I'm adding one more permission to execute this file. Okay, I press enter. Now see ls. So this color of file has changed. So you can see initially where it is. Yeah, new file.sh. Initially it was in white, but if you do again ls minus lh, so now you can see this file has one more permission to execute. Now let's execute this shell script file. So I'm using dot forward slash and just need to write new and this file and see, because in this particular file we have a command which get which is executed, and in the output part we are getting hello everyone. Okay, so by this way you can.
Ashish,
Yes.
one thing I actually had doubt with this minus LH or this minus thing, basically the option thing.
Okay,
When do we put that?
so this if you do minus ls minus al, okay, it will list out all the files, and ls minus lh is basically the listing out all the files. Human readability, h is for human readability. So what is the
Okay.
difference? If you see the size, so you can't know. Okay, so because you have to count the digits. Okay, 1 2 3 4, and then you have to figure out this is the in mb or kb or gb. Okay, but I'm converting into human readable file,
Mm-hmm.
so I can easily see, okay, the file size is 585 mb, 1.5 kb. So the difference is only the readability part. Like I can easily read the file size. The rest is the same thing.
Okay. One no. One more thing. That minus thing, that option thing. When we put all together, actually, yesterday only I was about to ask, but then I could not. This option thing, like when do we put it? Like LS will also list out all the files,
But you
right?
don't
Why
have
do
the,
we
for
need?
example, you want to have the information on the size, file size.
Okay.
Because if you do ls, you only have the list of
Only
files.
have the okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
But you want to like get the additional information, like what is the size of the file when I've created these files, or like when I modified this particular file last time. So you will get these information.
Okay. Okay.
And
Yeah.
if you don't want these information, you just need to do ls, so it will list all the contents in the particular folder. Is it clear now?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I just skipped that part. Some. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Okay.
okay,
Yeah.
no issue.
Thank you.
Yeah, now coming back to so we have covered how you can change the permission of the file and you can execute any shell script thing. Now so as of now we have covered so many basic commands. So I'll also share this particular like PDF where you will have a 2 or 3 exercise. So this is just an example. So I'll go through like what are the questions you have to cover. So you have to do these things. Like first you have to navigate to root directory. How you can do that? You have to figure out. Like I have already covered that part. Then the next one is how. So for example, you don't aware of ls command. Like what is the other option? Like I taught you ls minus lh, ls minus al, these things. So there are also other options listed with ls option. So you can like explore those parts. So I have mentioned you need to use the manual for ls to figure out how you can display the directory in long format. So this is also a command to display the content in long format. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to list out. So first you have to go to the manual by man command, and then you have to scroll to the ls command and see what are the options and for which option you can use to get the long format. So this is your next task. Third task is you have to navigate to your home directory. How you can do that? So in the previous slide I just told, like you can use tilde symbol. Now the next task is how you can display the content of your home directory, like what are this particular home folder contain exactly, like what are the files and folder. So you have to display those things. Next, display the history of what you have done. So for example, you have practiced all the basic commands. Now you have to display like what are the commands you ran, so using the history command thing. Then next task is you need to create a file.sh file. Add a line using echo command. You can add anything you want to print, and then make this sh file executable. So this is your first exercise. Coming to next part. So you don't like for example, if you are dealing with a big data, so it's not easy to cover all the analysis part with your local system, because everything has limitation, because your local system has storage limitation and RAM limitation. So for example, if you are dealing with a big file, your laptop will stuck. For example, yesterday I was opening a big CSV file, so it took a lot of time, and in between it was stuck. Okay, so to handle those things, we use server thing. So when you see any movie, so they are dealing with any hacking or like dealing with big server, so they just showcase these things like, okay, so this is like virtually, oh my god, this is looking so good, but the reality is everything is simple. So what you have to do, so this is, for example, this is you, and you have your own laptop system. So to deal with a big data or handle with a big data and process the pipeline within a short time, you need to use a strong computer. Strong computer means they will have a high storage, high RAM. So if you are running any command, the process speed will be fast. Okay. So how you can talk with any server? So to talk or to connect with a server, we have to use a command called SSH to gain the access. To connect with any server, first the owner of the server has to create a space for you on the server. For example, in a company, if they have a server name, company A has a server that's server X. Okay, now there are 20 employees, so they have to give access for 20 employees. So they will create a space. For example, this entire server is 100 GB or 200 GB. Okay, I need to distribute the space to users, so the client will log into my server and they can use their space. So for example, I have given 20 GB to each users, for example. Okay, so you can log into the server, you can run your pipeline, and you can store your data, and the limit is 20 GB only. Okay, so same way the owner will create an access, so you just have to get the access and connect to the server using SSH. Okay, so how you connect SSH? So the command is like, you need to do SSH, and then you have to provide x at the rate y. What is x? So x is your user ID, so like your identity. So x will be your identity of your desktop thing, and then you have to type at the rate, and y is the server name. Or either you can log in with the server name, or you can try with like IP address of that particular server. IP address is basically the identity of that each server. So each server has different identity. Okay, so either you can type the server name or its IP address. Then it will ask for the password, and then you will just have to provide the password and you will get the access. And now you are in server. Okay. Now, if you are on server, so you have to deal with a lot of data. For example, if you are doing any biological process and you are generating a lot of data, so it's not mandatory like for the entire pipeline. If the pipeline consists of 10 steps, for the each step you need server to do the task. Okay, for example, for first 4 tasks you need the server, because those process will take time and need more RAM and storage thing. Okay, so what you can do, you can log into server, complete the first 4 steps, generate the results, and the results will act as an input for the fifth step. Okay, so what you have to do, you can download the data from the server to your local system, and then you can process the rest of the 6 steps to complete the pipeline. Okay, so how you can download the data from server and how you can upload the data to server. Okay, so these are two different things. So to upload any data to server, so we have to use scp command. Okay, so the format is like, you need to type scp command and the file name that you want to upload, and then you have to give your username, means the identity of your desktop. Then you have to use at the rate symbol and the server name. Okay, after server name you have to use colon and providing the path where you want to store this local file, means you want to transfer this local file from your desktop to server at which position, like at which particular path. Okay, so this is the case of upload. Now I want to download the data from the server. So how you can do that part? You need to use SCP, and the format is you have to provide the username at the rate server name or server IP address colon and the path. Okay, so like path of the folder or path of the file like you're going to download, you need to provide those paths. So it will download that particular folder of path at your local system. Okay, so this is the way you can connect to any server. Okay, so this is on Linux thing. Even Windows user has like one more advantage to download and upload the files. So you can do it with using GUI tool, graphical user interface. Okay, so we are using MovaXterm to launch the terminal. Same way you can use MovaXterm to connect to any server. So what you have to do, you have to go to the session, and so we have seen in the last lecture there was option called SSH. You need to connect to SSH and provide the username and password thing, and then you will be on your server. Okay, and then you can see there are two options. So this blue option is to download the files from the server, and this green option is to upload a file on the server. Okay, there are other tool also like WinSCP and FileZilla, so you can use that also to upload and download any files from the server, or you want to upload any files to the server, you can do that part also. Now coming to this part, so how you can compress and decompress file. Okay, so for example, if you are downloading a file, so what is the role of or use of like compressing and decompressing file? Okay, so for example, suppose you have a collection of data for past 1 year. Okay, and you are working on some experiments, you have a lot of data you have generated, so it's hard to maintain all the data because the data size is big. So because there is like a limit of space issue, like if you have a 50 GB space, so you have to use that 50 GB space only, you can't extend. Like for example, Gmail, they provide 15 GB space, so you have to store the data up to 15 GB. After that you don't have the access to extend the storage thing. Okay, so same way, for example, I have a data for a past 1 year, so I want to store it such a way like it will not make a big problem. So what you have to do, you have to reduce the size, so it will be easy to store large amount of data. How you can reduce the size? Using the compress part. Okay, and also you can do archive the backup data, so you can use it in the future. Like for example, you have completed the project. Okay, you can archive all the folders, so it will reduce the size. And for example, in the next year again, if you have to look back to those data, you can unzip those files and again use it. So the syntax for compress and decompress for any particular file is gzip. So if you want to compress a file, you use gzip and provide the file name. Okay, so here for example, I have listed all the files. So this is the file I am going to compress, file.txt. Okay, so I use the command gzip file.txt. When again I listed all the files, I can see file.txt is converted to .gz file. Okay, but for cross check, I did again, like I want to compress this particular file.txt. So it is showing me error, no such file or directory, because it is converted to .gz file, compressed file. Okay, now I want to decompress it back. Okay, so how I can do it? I can do it with two commands. So there is one command gzip, and there is an option -d. -d is basically for decompress, and you have to provide the file name .gz file name. So I have given gzip -d and the file name with .gz extension, and again you have listed the files. Now you can see this .gz is converted back to the normal file file.txt. Okay, there is one more alternative is using gunzip. So doing unzipping the file with an extension .gzip. So what you have to do, use gunzip and providing the file name .gz. It will do the same thing that we are dealing with this particular command. Okay, now the next thing is how you can compress or decompress a folder. So previous thing, this gzip and gunzip will only work for a file. So you can compress, decompress any file. But if you have to compress any folder, so you need to use tar command. Okay, so the syntax of tar is like for the compression part you need to use tar. So here there are two important things to remember. So for example, this is CVF. So C is for compress verbose file. Okay, and for example, skip this part, JAD part. If you run this command, entire command without JAD, what will happen? So it will create a tar file, .tar file, and because I'm combining two steps, I'm creating a archive file and then compressing those archive file. So these are two things, and to do those part I have to add this JAD part. So JAD is basically doing the compression part. So for example, tar cvf if I'm using and giving file name .tar and file name which folder I want to compress, it will create a file name .tar. Then I have to compress it using ggzip, but I want to combine both the steps, so I can simply do it tar dash z cvf, providing the output file name in which file name I want. So I guess I want in the format of file name .tar.gz, and which folder I want to compress I need to provide. Same way, if you want to decompress it, you need to use tar minus z. X is for extract, C is for compress, and provide the file name. Okay. So here I have given one example. So I have listed all the files and I have folder named testing. Okay. So what I have given first, tar dash z cvf testing. So it is saying empty archive, it is giving an error. Why? Because I haven't provided the output file name. So because this argument was missing, so then I have provided tar dash xc zcvf and providing the output file name and then providing the argument like which folder I'm working. So when you run this command, it will create a file that name is testing.tar.gz. When you see the size of this file, this is the reduced format. Like the size will be, for example, this entire folder is in GB or maybe MB. So it will reduce in KB size. So this is the way you can store any big folder or data thing. And you can compress the folder and you can use it in future. Okay. And there are other options associated with tar command is like -tf. So -tf is like list out the contents of any file. So for example, there is already a tar file named .tar. Okay, and you are not aware what the contents it is holding. Okay, so what are the information this particular file contains. Okay, so how you can talk with this particular file? So you can use -tf command. So it will list out all the files which are there in this .tar. So you can see, okay, this particular tar file contains these information. So if I need any of the files, so I will go for the decompression part. If I don't need those files, I will not do the like decompress thing. Okay, so there are also other options you can explore like -c -x -b -f -z. Okay, now let's see these on terminal how we can do these parts. So for example, again, so this is the file.txt. So you simply gunzip ggzip file, and if you do file.txt, press enter. Now you will, so now you will see you have this .gz file. You want to unzip it, you can do unzip. So gzip -d, and then you provide the file name, and again you will have this file. Same way you can do with gunzip thing. Okay. Now I was saying for this. So for example, if you want to do it for any particular folder right now, like I have, but I want to do it. So what you can do, you can just first remove this testing.tar thing. Now I don't have this particular thing, so I can archive and compress this particular testing folder. So what I have to do, so you have to use tar command, then you have to use z because you are compressing. So C verbose file, and then you have to provide the name like new testing. So this is the tar file with gz extension. and which folder you want to compress testing. So see, so this folder is compressed and the content of this formation is shown there. Like this particular folder has these many files, okay? And if you see ls, you can see this archived file is compressed, okay? So we have covered till now, like how you can do this compression, like ggif file, how you can compress a particular file, how you can uncompress a particular file. For example, when you will use this, when you are dealing with any FASTQ file, so generally when you download any FASTQ file, you have like .gz file. So you have to uncompress, decompress thing and extract the R1 and R2 file, like read one and read two. If you're doing a parent sequencing thing, so you will have two files, read one and read two. So that time you need to unzip those files, okay? Also, there is one important thing, for example, I want to teach, like for example, you want to install any file from any link or GitHub thing or any source. So what you generally do, you just click on that particular file. It will ask for like where you want to save this file, and you just click enter, and at this particular location the file will save, okay? But how you can do that part on Linux thing? So what you have to do, you have to copy the link. So I'm copying the link, and there is a command on Linux is wget. If you type wget and then provide the link and press enter, it will connect to that particular link and download the files that you are looking for. So I was looking for this start SRA toolkit for Ubuntu, so I'm trying to download this particular thing. So instead of downloading directly, I can also download from the, like how people used to download if they are using Linux system. So we have the option that is called wget, okay? So because the file size is 89 MB, so it will take some time. So so this is the second thing, like after knowing the compress decompress thing, we can also use, like how we can use wget to download any files. And then we have also learned how to connect to server, how to use SSH, and how you can do SCP thing. Now we will jump into the rest of the basic thing, commands. So yesterday we have covered till 12 cat command. So today we will cover the rest other commands one by one, okay? So for example, meanwhile it is running, so I can go to other terminal. So see, this is file is downloading still, like I have 56%, still 40% is remaining. So like, so let's see the other command meanwhile. So there is a command called nl. So nl is used to display the content of a file with line number. So for example, you want, so as of now, for example, this linux command.txt is a file, and I want to see each line, okay? You simply do l linux command.txt. So there were 73 lines, and so in the first line, I have written this man thing, second right, this is the details, third, fourth line is the blank line. So you are getting all the information and also associated with each line, the numbering thing with the NL command, okay? Then the next command is find command. So this is very useful. So how? So for example, we have these files, okay? So you want to find a particular file. So right now I'm working in this particular directory, so I know these are the files. So for example, like you have worked on many things, and you come back after 3 to 4 months, and you did not remember like where exactly you kept those files that you were using, okay? So how to find? So simply there is an option like find, and then this is a dash thing, so you have to find dot, and then option will be the name, okay? The next thing is you have to provide what you are, like what you exactly looking, like for example which file you are looking, okay? So right now, for example, I'm looking for this file linux command.txt, okay? So I'm writing linux command.txt. So it will give me the absolute path where, So as of now, for example, this particular file is present in this particular location. Okay, and if you are fetching from somewhere else, it will find those particular files also. And this particular name option is case sensitive. What exactly it means? For example, if you are trying to find Linux, and for example, you by mistake you have given this U term a capital letter. Okay, so for example, you have given this one. So by mistake, while typing, you just give capital U instead of small lowercase u. Okay, press enter. So it will say there is no file, but you have this file like linux underscore command.txt, but by mistake you have given this character thing. So what you have to make? So you have to make this name insensitive. So this is as of now case sensitive. So you just have to add minus. So you have to add I before n. So now it becomes insensitive. So now if you search, it will show, okay, this particular file is there in this root directory. So dot is the current directory and this is the path. Within the current directory, this particular file is there. Okay. And I want to fetch, for example, all the files that are txt. Okay. Sorry. So I missed the pattern thing. So find dot and then name, and within the code I'm fetching a pattern dot txt. So it will list out all the files and their path. So all the txt files and their absolute path, like it is in current directory and this is the path. Okay. So for example, there is a file 1.txt. So it is located in this particular current directory, that is day1. And within that there is subfolder testing, and within this is the file 1.txt. Okay. So you can get the path. Okay. So there are other options also. You can also find directories under the current tree that is matching with your folder name. So same way you have to use the additional information you need to add is the type thing. So previously we were not using type, we were just using the name and providing the file name. But if you are dealing with a folder, you just have to provide the dash type. Okay, and then the name, and then provide the folder name. Okay, so let's try this one. So you want to fetch a directory. So this is D and providing the name. Okay, so name of the folder, for example, testing. So it will show this is the folder, and within this folder we also have one subfolder. Okay, and there are other two options. You can also search files. So like if you have a lot of files in your current directory and you want to list out or filter out those files which are large in space. Okay, like those files are taking more storage. So how you can do that part? So simply you can use find command, and then within the type you can search F. Okay, give F option and then provide the size, and you can limit the size. Like I want to filter those files which is greater than, plus is for like above 100k size, and the next size should be less than 1 MB. Okay, it should be greater than 100k KB and less than 1 MB. So it will list out all the files which are falling in this particular range. So you can also use this find command to do these stuffs also. Okay, so this alias command is very important. So this is very useful. Okay, how? So let's say for example, I'm teaching this course. So every day, like I have to open the terminal. So when you launch the terminal, so for example, so it will directly open to your like home directory. So for example, I'm directly going to home directory. Okay, so cd tilde, press enter, it will jump to home directory. So same way, if you close the terminal and reopen the terminal, it will jump to this home directory. Okay, but every day I have to do this part, cd, then root directory, then need to do drives, then within drive I need to go C folder, then Ashish personal folder, then need to bioinfo then build course, then again bioinfo and then Linux. So I have to do these things, like every day I have to type cd and these many things to jump into this particular directory which I'm going to use like for a 1 month, for a month for example. Okay, so I don't want to type because I'm lazy, so I don't want to type every time. So what you can do, you can use this alias command. Okay, so what exactly it is doing, so you need to add alias command, then there will be a name of the file. So what exactly you are doing, you are making this particular thing. So this is a command you are running. Okay, this is command line. So just copy this, and I'm using alias command to make my own command. As of now you have learned like find command, cd command, ls command, these are the Linux command. Now I want to make my own command. So for example, I'm creating a command with my name Ashish. Okay, same way, like for example here I have created with Bioinfo journey. Okay, you don't have to put any space, just give equal operator, and within the code you just need to add the command you want to use it every time. For example, I don't want to do cd every time to jump into this particular folder. I just want to type Ashish, so I will definitely directly jump to this particular working directory. Okay, press enter. Okay, this is done. Now just write Ashish. Okay, enter. Now let's see how you can, how, yes, see, any place like you are in any directory. Okay, and again you want to jump to Ashish directory quickly, just need to type Ashish and press enter. You are here. So this is the beauty of this alias command. So what developers and like any bioinformatician do, because they have to deal with many projects and they have to work on many repository means like if you have heard like git part github thing, so they have to work on those things also. So they have different modules, different folders they are working. Okay, so for example I am working on 4 folders. Okay, so I don't want every time to do cd and jump into those folders to fetch and use my data. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll use alias command and add these things and make my own command. So whenever I type this, it will directly execute this particular cd command and I'll get the results. Okay, same way, for example, I was in home directory. I just wrote my name, which is a command that I have created. So I'm telling my computer like store in your memory that this is whenever I'm typing my name, you have to execute this command cd till this part. Okay, so when I write this thing, so it executed this entire thing cd command, and the output is like I'm in this Linux learning directory. Okay, but this is not up to this, because whenever like after like when like after completing your work, you're going to close the terminal. Okay, and again you are coming back and reopening any terminal, and then you type Ashish, this will not work, because whenever you're closing, so this your laptop was and your desktop will not remember like what you have created. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to update this in bash rc. So bash rc is a different content that I'll teach you in the next, like because in the next lesson we are going to deal with the advanced commands of Linux thing. So there I'll add you like bash rc. For now, just as a beginner, just remember bash rc is a file. So whenever you open a terminal in the backend, bash rc is going to execute. Okay, so whatever you want to execute as a prerequisite, you can add those commands there. Okay, so for example, if I add this particular entire command in my bash rc, so I don't have to run this every time. Whenever I open a terminal, it will execute it in the backend. I don't have to worry about that. Okay, I just have to use my name and it will directly jump into this particular folder. Okay, now coming back to this is for alias command, and you can also see how many alias you have created. So for example, if you just write alias, so you can see these are the alias or shortcuts like so if you type this thing, so it will execute this command. If you type top, this will execute this command. Okay, so these are the list of things. Now coming back to the next part is, so I was saying like you need to update everything in bash rc, so you don't have to worry and execute every time. Okay, Now the next is the tail command. So how we can use it? So tail command is used to print the lines. So for example, I want to print the starting 10 lines, or for example, I want to print the 10 lines after some number of lines. Okay, so we can use that part. So for example, the first is tell. So we have, so let's clear the screen and list out all the files. Go to data and day one. Okay, now I have to fetch the last 10 lines in a particular file. Okay, so for example, tail and minus n and 10 and providing the file name. So for example, Linux commands.txt. Okay, so it will print the last 10 lines, whatever the information will be there. You can see in the output, like if they have the blank space, it will consider as a blank space. So these are the last 10 line. Okay, if you want to print, for example, you want to print the whole content starting from some specific line, so you can mention with the plus line. So for example, I want to print the content after 10th line. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to just go upward arrow and give this as a plus symbol. So you can see, so like ds.txt, this cd thing. So this is the 11th line. So after 10th line, you are getting all the content of a file on the terminal, because you are saying to your computer like print all the lines after 10th line. Okay, for this particular file. So this way you can use a tell command to see some of the content. Like for example, if you have a big file, you want to just get the uh, idea like what information these particular files contain, so you can visualize. So tell is used when you are dealing with log file, because when you open a log file, so generally the error part is at the end. So error part you can find at the last 10 or 15 lines. Okay, so you just don't have to open the log file, scroll and go to the bottom part to find the error thing. So simply use tell to see the last 10 or 15 lines, and you can see, okay, so here what was my error, so I will try to debug the code. Okay, for example, if you want to see the content of any CSV or TSV file, so you can use head thing. So you can simply do head and then how many lines you want and the file name. So for example, I'm dealing with Linux, for example. So it will print the starting 5 line. So head is the starting to print the starting content, and you can provide how many lines you want. Tail is used to print the content that is from the bottom thing, like it will start from the bottom. Okay, so I have covered tail and head. Now word count, WC command. So word count is useful to know like how many rows also. And for example, if you are dealing with any BAM file, so you can see the variation thing, like for example, you have generated a BAM file and again you rerun the same code, and for example you did some mistake in the code, so the output was not matching with the previous thing. So you can see, okay, the column is varying, or maybe you have generated more number of reads. In the previous file you have 200 reads, but in the next BAM file you have 250 reads. So you can see the number with the WC command, like word count command. So how you can do that part? So just need to write WC and the file name. Okay. So here you got 3 columns. The first column is 73, 254 and 1538. Okay. And this is the file name. So first column is giving information the number of rows. So how many rows were there in this particular file? This is number of characters and this is the size bytes. Okay. So same thing I have explained here. If you want to fetch only like the number of lines, so you simply just write WC dash L providing the file name. So you will have the number of lines that this particular file contains and the file name. Okay. If you want to print only the number of words this particular file contains, so like for example, you have to upload any research paper, so there will be a limit like 200 words limit or 1000 word limits. So you don't have to check or count things. So you can simply do word count. You can word count minus W and provide the file name, it will calculate and count the words, and it will tell you like how many words that particular file contains. Okay, so you can use that command that time. Okay, and if you want the bytes details, you can do use wc minus c. Okay, now the clear command we have already covered. So to clear everything, you just need to type clear. It will clear the screen. Okay, now this is the last command, diff command. Okay, so let's see. So let me create one more file to make it more easier. So I want to create abc underscore 1.txt. Okay, so I forgot to add the touch command in the beginning. So what you are going to do, you are going to do backspace. No, I don't want to do that part. Okay, so what I will do, I have learned the shortcut like control a will when you press control a, it will jump back to the starting point. Okay, so I don't have to delete the entire thing and again write touch command and then the file name. I can just jump to the starting point and then I can write the touch command and press enter. Okay, I have created a files abc.txt and just created abc underscore 1.txt. Okay, now for example, I so let's see the content of abc.txt. Okay, so I have five names in this particular file. Okay, and let's see the content of abc1.txt. So abc underscore 1.txt, so it does not have anything, so let's add. So I can open this particular file. Okay, so I have added my name. Next, added one more name. Okay, or for example I added one place name. Okay, and I again esc to uh, jump to other mode and then colon right quit enter to save the file. Okay, now let's see the content of this file. So now I have 3 rows and these details, I have 5 rows and these details. Okay, and I want to compare these two files. Okay, what is the difference between these two files? You can use diff command and provide the file name abc.txt and abc underscore 1.txt. See, so now it is showing the differences. So this is your first file and this is your second file. So this is present in both the files, so you don't have any information of minus and plus thing. Okay, rn, so rn is there in the first file but it is missing in the second file, so it is showing minus thing. Okay, so this is the reference and this is the comparison, this is the query thing. So it is showing minus rn in this new file. Okay, and this Pradeep is again minus because we have the information is in this particular first file but the same information is missing in the second file, so that's why we have minus sign, means this information is not present in the second file. This information is not present in the second file, Rohit is also not. Raj is the common one, so that's why we have Raj information in both the files, so we don't have any plus and minus thing. Okay, and because this second file has one additional information, that is Delhi, which is not there in the first file, that's why we are getting plus sign, means this is the additional information this new file contains. This is the common information and this minus information means the new file does not contain these information. So this is the way you can compare the two files. One more thing, you don't want to print, just you want to see whether both the files are same or different, you can use the minus rq option. Okay, so you just need to write diff minus rq option and provide the file name abc.txt and abc underscore 1.txt. Okay, so it is saying files abc and abc1.txt is different. So for example, you are handling a big data, for example, two CSV files. So by mistake, you have manipulated one file. So you can simply use this command to see whether those of both the files are same or different. Okay, because if it has 1k rows, so it will show for each. Like let's see, we have two Linux file also. So let's see how it will look like. So if you want to compare Linux command.txt, diff Linux commands.txt and then linux command underscore 1.txt. See, so now it is showing information for all the files. So if you are handling a small file, it is easy to visualize and find, okay, the second file had this information, so second file is missing this blank space thing, blank row. But if you are dealing with a big file, so it's not ideal to see this way. You can simply use rq command. So for example, I can use simply dash rq. It will show these two files are different, like there's a difference in both the files. Okay, so we have completed all the basic commands that you should know to start with handling any biological data in the bioinformatics field. In the next lecture, we are going to cover the advanced commands, like how you can use the grep command, how you can use the awk command, how you can use the seed command, sorting thing. So these information we will see, and how to handle the any biological data with these tools. Thank you, and please like and subscribe my channel to learn this course.